Good evening, Top fans. It's Bill from Top Fan Rivalry here.
Hey, Yogi here, your Angels top fan.
Perfect. We're going to do something a little bit different for our top fans tonight. We got some people representing for the playoffs. We're going to talk playoffs, baby. And I'm sure Yogi's going to have a lot to say about the Angels. Yogi, tell me about the Angels playoffs. How'd that go?
Angels playoffs. Bill, we talked about it last time. You like talking about this fake season as usual. Let's go back to what's really important right now. I want to say good morning to Scott, to Jackson. So thanks for coming on, and looking forward to what you have to say about your teams. Bill's going to start off with his zingers, trying to tell me about the Angels, how poorly they did, but that's okay. Bill's going to have a good time talking about this great fake season. And you guys can go ahead and tell us what you think about this amazing strange season, which I always talk about anyway.
Of course, the fake season. He starts at fake season. The best part about this, Dodger fans, the best part about this is the Angels got eliminated at Dodger Stadium. God bless America. Isn't that the way it's supposed to work out? The only thing that could have been better was the Dodgers eliminating the Giants. But the Giants had to wait until the last game of the season to get eliminated, which I didn't cry about at all. But hey, anyways, we're going to introduce some of our friends. We've got Viliami Ruiz, Scott Carter, and Jackson Westfall on with us. And so we'll let them tell you a little bit about their team, and then we'll just kind of take it from there, boys. So, Viliami, why don't you start us?
All righty. Well, just going to lay it out here. Playoff 2021, go Angels. I feel like that is the story of our team year in and year out. Mike Trout's always going to be good every single year. We can always count on him. Pitching, that's another story. I feel like the college teams in Southern California have better pitching than we do. Maybe we should hire one of their coaches as our GM. Who knows? Maybe we might get some good pitching. But on the bright side, Dylan Bundy. Bounce back year, probably his best year he's had in the majors, probably in the last 6 seasons. Very nice. That's always a highlight, at least one pitcher doing good for us. And surprisingly, Mike Trout did not have the highest batting average for our team. Very surprised by that. But I feel like we have a good young core. I feel like we can make a push next year for at least a playoff spot, and who knows? Maybe we can get Mike Trout a W in the playoffs. Who knows?
The next 5 years or so.
Yeah, maybe.
Who are you pulling for in the playoffs, Viliami?
I am pulling for Cleveland because I have a dear friend that pitches for Cleveland. I grew up with him. My boy Shane Bieber here. I grew up with him. And so I watch every single game that he pitches in. That's my wife's and I our agreement that we have. I can watch baseball when we're doing stuff if the Angels are playing or Shane is pitching. Those are the only times I can watch or be on my phone if we're out with friends and doing stuff.
So 162 games a season, and that seems fair. If you could just talk to my wife about that, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll reach out to her after this.
Have your people call my people.
Yep, we'll do it.
Let's turn it over to Scott. Scott's our a top Dodger fan and a good friend of mine. So, Scotty, what did you see, and what do you think is going to go on through the playoffs?
I was real curious to see what was going to happen with the Giants and whether we were going to face the Giants. I say we as Dodger Blue, Pantone 294, for those who need to know. I was real curious because the Giants actually out of the National League for some reason scared me the most of the potential playoff teams to face, especially in the first round in a 3-game series, because they always play the Dodgers tough, and they are a rival, so that makes it even worse. So I can't say I've shed any tears that they didn't make the playoffs. Hunter Pence, see ya. Now I don't have to see you in giant orange either. But this is going to be fun. It's a different year. It is a different playoff with, home team, no real travel days in between. And it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I mean, obviously the Dodgers are the favorite, but you just never know.
Yeah. Did Hunter retire? I didn't hear.
Yeah, he did. I think yesterday he announced he was going to retire.
Oh man, that guy was always a Dodger killer. So
Yeah,
peace
yeah,
out.
I mean, God bless you for wearing the knee-high socks because that's my favorite. But good riddance on the baseball field. We can hang out anytime, Hunter, but just as long as you don't wear a Giants hat.
Wear your Philly stuff, Hunter. Wear your Philly stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Jackson Westfall, tell us about your team.
Oh, my team, the Braves. I thought they would actually spend money this offseason, but that's a good joke every year because they don't. They're always like, we're going to spend some money, and then they're like Cole Hamels, and I'm like, why? But that's a topic for a different video. But I feel pretty good about the young rotation heading into the playoffs. Ian Anderson's looked pretty good in a couple starts. Kyle Wright seems to have figured out not to walk 6 batters in a row, so that kind of helps him out. I mean, offense was fun to watch. Scored 29 runs against the Marlins. That was a good game.
It's the Marlins, dude. It's the Marlins.
Hey, those are the playoff Marlins to you.
That's true.
I need to remind you that the Marlins are dangerous in the playoffs. They won the World Series every time they made it. So
that's true too.
All 2 times. But
that's true too. What was that? 2003 and
1997.
1997. That's right.
We have to be careful with the Marlins though, because they have not lost the playoff series. So that's something that people have to consider when thinking of the Marlins.
And remind me again, who did they draw first round?
Cubs.
Okay. Cubbies. Where's
Where's
Rob Peterson when you need him?
2-0 in your trips to the World Series and through the playoffs. I mean, hey, you'd rather be 2-0 than 0-4 like the Buffalo Bills. So
that's true.
That's true.
Sorry.
That's true.
On a weird side note, the last time the Marlins played the Cubs in the playoffs, wasn't it Steve Bartman?
Yes.
I think it was.
Yes, it was. You nailed it.
Nice.
Where's Stevie Bartman?
Ooh.
We'll need him for that series. I don't like the Cubs at all.
Well, you're not playing in Wrigley though.
Yeah.
Right.
So the Braves got the Reds. So
that's true. So tell me, what did you? And the Reds are, dude. The Reds are a tough team right now. They got hot at the right time. The right time, and so it's. But tell me what you guys think about this playoffs. First of all, you have 2 bad games and you're out of the playoffs. There's no travel, so you're going to play. I think the top 4 teams in the National League play in Arlington. The next 4 play in Houston, and then 4 in San Diego for the American League and 4 in LA for the American League as well. But what do you guys think? Do you think it's weird?
I think it's really weird.
It's going to be very different, especially, Bill, you mentioned when you and I were speaking before that, the energy, being at a World Series game, I've had the blessing to be at a couple, and especially to be at a Dodger World Series game when they finally got back a couple years ago and lost to the Trash Bros. Or Asterisks, whichever you prefer. But they cheat, so that's all that matters. But anyway, that to me, just remembering the energy that you feel from all of the fans being in the stadium at a World Series game, when the home team is doing well, and especially there at Dodger Stadium, is the roller coaster that game 2 was in Chavez Ravine. That affects the players. They can feel that on the field, and you've seen that already a little bit in the regular season. It's hardly regular, but and you've seen it in some of the other sports, that not having the fans there, especially if you're going on some kind of a run, if something good is happening for the home team, the fans, that energy just pumps the team up more and more. And it'll be real interesting to see who the teams are that, technically are the home team, but without their fans, they aren't the same when it comes to the playoffs.
And it's funny that you mentioned that, Scotty, because I always hated going into Atlanta in playoff games because Atlanta does weird things in the playoffs. Jackson, you guys have always done weird things to the Dodgers in the playoffs. I remember the series when what was it? What year was it, Scott? When Juan Uribe hit the home run at Dodger
Oh,
Stadium to knock him out.
Oh, that-
That was. But you guys did crazy stuff to us in Atlanta, and Viliami's wearing an Indians jersey, but for some reason, those boys when they get to Cleveland and those home fans, maybe it's just the cold weather, but they seem to step it into high gear too.
It's true.
It's
True.
just the strangest thing.
I'm excited this year because the Indians are playing the Yankees, and it always any Indian and Yankee matchup in the playoffs always brings me back to 07, the bug game. When Java Chamberlain was a rookie, then a rookie, and he went in and wild pitch, walked the guy, another wild pitch, calls to get bug spray, and then ends up giving up the tying run. They end up losing 2-1 in the 11th, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't they end up losing that series? I feel like that was a big momentum swing.
Yeah, they did. They lost that series. I do remember that.
Yeah, that's the bug game. You can find that all over. That still is played on like Diamond Vision, like crazy plays and stuff like that when you're at a stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
all
nuts.
over. It's all over MLB Network right now. Like every couple hours, it's brought up because it's bad.
Yeah. Well, and I think wasn't that the last time the Yankees and Indians faced each other in the playoffs?
No, they played recently. I think they were down, and Lindor hit a monster home run to get them back in by 1. I think it was in the playoffs a couple of years ago. I could be wrong though. I could fact check.
You know, it's funny because every postseason, the MLB network always plays the same games. They play the Sid Bream game where he comes around second or comes around third and barely outdoes the throw and slides in. It's like 1992 or something like that. And I think they met the Twins in the World Series, or I don't remember. They always play those games. They play the 2001 game that the Yankees lose to Mariano Rivera, gives up the save, and the Yankees lose to the Diamondbacks on Luis Gonzalez's hit. And of course, Kurt Gibson going yard in game 1 against Dan Eckersley. That's given. And apparently, at some point, the Angels will have something to talk about in the postseason. But let's not,
So I just wanted to let Viliami know he is not fake news on that. The Yankees.
Thank goodness.
The Yankees in Cleveland did play in 2017. Real recently, 3 years ago. Yankees won 3-2.
There you go.
So there you go. ALDS
okay, so
in
boys, tell me about each of your teams in the playoffs. What do you like? What are you concerned about? So we all know that the best out of 3 is going to suck, right? Because you just can't, like Jackson talked about them scoring 29 runs against the Marlins. So maybe you have a blowout game, but then you miss, you have a pass ball in the 8th inning and you lose 2-1 and you're out of the playoffs. But tell me about each one of your teams. We're going to go backwards this time. We'll start with Jackson, but tell me about what you like, what you're concerned about, and who the team is that you're most nervous about playing against in the playoffs.
All right. What I really like is the Braves have a really deep lineup. They seem to find the big hit. They're really good at hitting late in the game, too. They're really good at getting patient with the bull. So, I mean, as far as the lineup's concerned, especially at the DH, where Ozuna doesn't have to play left field because he's horrendous fielding, I feel pretty good about the lineup. It boils down. Soroka went down with the freak Achilles injury. Not much you can do about that. And the young pitching will have to step up. If they can get 5-6 innings, I think the bullpen's good enough to just bridge it on over. They got the good veterans. I think Chris Martin's questionable, but even then, I was looking at it. Will Smith had like a sub 7.5 whip around there. I think it was like 0.78. I think 7 of the hits he gave up were home runs, which isn't great. But if you think about it, he's not giving up much else. So it's just that bullpen stability at the back. So as long as the starters can get it done and they can jump on the opposing team starter early, I think they'll have a chance. Just knowing, teams I wouldn't want to face. The Dodgers and the Cardinals always give us trouble. Giants got knocked out, which is great because I was thinking about the Giants the other day. The Tim Lincecum 2010 complete game shutout was haunting my memories. That was a game
Brutal.
to watch.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just want the Braves to go out there and score because the several times they've been knocked out of the playoffs, it's in game 1 they get like shut down. Game 2 they get shut down. They show some life. Game 3, and then in game 4 they just implode. So just as long as we avoid the Cardinals and the Dodgers, won't have to worry about any outfield flies or getting swept by the Dodgers. I think they'll have a pretty good run.
Sweet. It's funny how you said those two Achilles heel words for Dodger fans, Tim Lincecum, and you notice Scott and I both were like, eh.
Yeah.
That's like nails on a chalkboard, my friend. Nails on a chalkboard. Oh man, Scotty, what do you think about the Dodgers this season?
So, I mean, obviously the Dodgers, best record in baseball. They pretty much have been the favorite. They're front running. So there's pressure really on them to perform, especially having made 2 out of the last 3 World Series, losing 2, obviously under questionable circumstances in the first one and potentially in the second one. But bygones be bygones. Overall, I feel like this is the year. It's just kind of a strange year, and I feel like this is the year for the Dodgers. But there's always a concern for me with when you have a team that hits well and then you get into the playoffs and the bats just go quiet. You look at like the Dodgers have had several of those years before they made it to the World Series, where they should have been there and their bats just, especially with runners in scoring position, go silent. For me, that's always the biggest indicator. I remember the Yankees having that issue in the Jason Giambi, Gary Sheffield years, that they were there, that they had those teams. And they did go to at least one World Series, lost to the Marlins, who were mentioned earlier. But, they had that problem that year. When they got to the World Series, their bats just went quiet. I mean, they had one of the most feared lineups in baseball, and none of them hit in that World Series. And that's a concern for me. A little less because of the way they kind of slumped a little bit in this shortened season. And then they've finished on a real high note, similar to the Yankees, finishing this season on the high note. But I mean, I like the Dodgers' chances. There's several teams that could trip them up. The Padres actually might scare me. No. Padres scare me a little bit just because they always play the Dodgers tough, and they always and this season they've beaten them and played them tough, and they're hitting the ball and they've put it together for the first time in a while, I feel like, in San Diego. The other team that I would worry, I think, about the Braves. I mean, I know Jackson talked about the Dodgers giving the Braves trouble, but the Braves have done the same to the Dodgers, over the years, and given us our share of heart attacks. And the Cardinals, I think, is the team I always fear the most in the playoffs. It's that thing in sports that you can't explain. It's not logical. You can't talk about it logically. You can't show it on paper, but a team just kind of has another team's number. And I just feel like that's the Cardinals and the Dodgers. Luckily they've got a rough road to hoe before they would meet in the playoffs. They got to beat the Padres. So one of those teams I'm worried about is going to be eliminated. And then they'll face the other one in the next round. So, I feel like it's the Dodgers year. I'm going with a old time favorite, Dodgers, Yankees, Dodgers in 6.
Dodgers in 6. It's funny that you mentioned that because there's this bracket that you can do online, and I did Dodgers, Yankees, Dodgers in 6. So
there you go.
Viliami, what do you have to say about the Indians? Because there's not a lot to say about the Angels, right? I mean,
just got to get that dig in,
were they eliminated in Chavez? Never mind. We won't talk about it.
I just want to apologize to all the teams in baseball for us not doing our part to make it so the Astros wouldn't be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I told my wife, I said, here's what happens. We still have hope. All we have to do is hope the Astros get swept, and we do our part and sweep the Dodgers. And I was talking to Bill about this, and Bill, you did say, did you not, that you're okay if the Dodgers basically just get swept and just let the Angels win, so justice can be served.
Yes,
for
I was.
the cheaters.
I'll admit it. Viliami told a secret. This was offline, but yes, the Asterix getting swept in Texas and the Angels sweeping the Dodgers, I would have been okay with it because it would have been like revenge for the Asterix for cheating.
And then we get swept by whoever we play. I mean, it's okay as long as the Astros didn't win and we make the playoffs once. We're cool.
Might be a while.
Yeah, it might be a while. I might have a kid before then. Gosh,
Not that long.
not that.
Tell me about the Indians.
So I'm excited about tomorrow's matchup between Garrett Cole and Shane Bieber, two of the best pitchers, arguably in all of baseball, going up against each other. Last year's Cy Young winner versus this year's Triple Crown. I think it's going to be good. My only concern is the Indians. When they play games, they tend to come alive late in games. And sometimes I feel like it comes too late. So my thing is, if we can come alive at the beginning, the middle, and the end, I think we have a pretty good shot against the Yankees. But, man, you have a tough lineup in the Yankees. But, I mean, it's possible. It's possible. The other hiccup I have is you have Carrasco pitching game 2 instead of Zach Plesac. I think they should have switched that because Zach's been hot since the Indians put him on timeout. He's been hot. So I would have kept that rolling and just have that confidence saying, hey, we're going Bieber 1, Zach 2, finish the Yankees off, and get ready to play whoever's next. But a little nervous because Cookie has not been super good. So it makes me a bit nervous. But as long as Ramirez stays hot, I think we're going to be okay. But I have the Dodgers and the Indians in the World Series. And I have the Indians sweeping the Dodgers.
Oh.
That's how confident I am.
Oh, Scott, did you hear that?
Man, I
Did you
wish
just
I
hear
had
that?
a boatload of money and you did too that we could bet.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Jackson, I'm about ready to fall out of my chair. Did you just hear this guy?
I did hear this guy. Man, the last 2 times the Indians made it to the World Series, they choked so hard.
Well, hey, we only choked because Back to the Future put the world against them.
I'm also
That
talking.
is the only reason they choked.
Did the Indians lose to the Braves in the 90s? If I'm not mistaken.
They did.
They did.
Yeah, Jared Wright. I pitched against Jared Wright in high school, and he was pitching Game 7 of the World Series, and I want to say 97. And I'm thinking, he's pitching Game 7 of the World Series, and I'm in college. This is great. So, anyways. Hey, boys, this has been fantastic. I have so loved this. Yogi and I, this has just been like a labor of love, and it's been so much fun. Did you guys have fun doing this? Is this kind of fun just to talk sports for a little bit?
Yeah, it was good.
You
And
can invite anytime, Bill.
Yeah,
Hey,
same
guys,
here.
I do appreciate the time you took.
Unless we're
Appreciate
talking
the
about how terrible my Denver Broncos are, then don't invite me. But rest assured, they're terrible this
It's
year.
okay.
I got your text message. I wasn't going to mention it, but hey.
We could talk about how terrible my Falcons are, though.
That's true.
Yes.
But hey, Yogi, any final thoughts as we're wrapping up here?
I just want to thank everyone for taking the time, showing the passion, something Bill and I were talking about, how many sports fans, how many baseball fans are out there. Want to have that outlet. And again, much love to all of you for taking the time to do this. And that's it.
Yeah. Guys, I love it. Go baseball. Obviously, go Dodgers. But
For sure.
does that say playoffs 2090? No, I'm
No,
sorry.
it says 2021. I believe, and I know Yogi believes. 2021 playoffs, baby.
Billy on me for
regardless, this should be a real interesting postseason and a lot of fun.
absolutely. Well, we're gonna have some more fellas joining us next week. There's a very good chance that we might do this at the same time next week. I'll let all of you guys know. But if you're interested, during the playoffs, we're going to do this. And part of what Top Fan will be doing going forward after the postseason is over, there's a lot of hot topics right now in baseball. And so we may get back together. One in particular that Yogi and I have been talking about is the Angels have Albert Pujols for one more season. Because he's so close to that home run record, do they re-sign him? And so we'll have a number of Angel fans that'll be on. You'll all be invited if you want to participate. But Albert is, now that I think about it, I think Albert is less than 100 home runs away from breaking Barry Bonds' record. And he very well could pass A-Rod next season if he gets enough playing time. So there's going to be some topics between Albert Pujols. What do the Dodgers do with Clayton Kershaw after he's done next season? Do we back up the truck and give some money out to them? What are the Braves going to do? There's some key acquisitions that they can make there. There's some key free agents. There's a lot of topics that we're going to be talking about in the offseason. But, fellas, thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for participating tonight. This will be up shortly, so for you guys to make comments on. And let's do this again. Maybe we'll do it next week. Same time, same channel.
Cool.
All right.
Thanks,
Thanks
Bill.
fellas.
Thanks for having me,
Appreciate
Bill.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. Go Angels.
it.
Go Blue.
Good night.